reading and japa this morning. So today's Srimad Bhagavatam will be summarized by Kanha Priyadas. Let's see, Prabhu is here.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Shrivataam Swakatha Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana Hriyantastoya Patrani Vadunati Suhritsatam Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Nestiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11, verses 11 through 13. So, this chapter is the Dhruva Maharaj receives instructions from Swayambhuva Manu. Or the chapter is entitled Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj. So, text 11. Sarva Bhutatma Bhavena Bhutavasam Harim Bhavan Aradhyapa Duraradhyam Vishnostatparam Padam. Synonyms. Sarva Bhuta, in all living entities, Atma, upon the super soul, Bhavena, with meditation, Bhuta, of all existence, Avasam, the abode, Harim, Lord Hari, Bhavan, you, Aradhya, by worshipping, Apa, have reached, Duraradhyam, very difficult to propitiate, Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu, Tat, that, Paramam, supreme, Padam, situation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets. But you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping Him as the supreme abode of all living entities. Purport. The material bodies of all living entities cannot exist unless sheltered by the spirit soul and the super soul. The spirit soul is dependent on the super soul who is present even within the atom. Therefore, since anything material or spiritual is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord is referred to here as Bhutavasa. Dhruva Maharaj, as a Kshatriya, would have argued with his grandfather Manu when Manu requested him to stop fighting. But even though Dhruva could have argued that as a Kshatriya it was his duty to fight with the enemy, he was informed that since every living entity is a residence of the Supreme Lord, can be considered a temple of the Lord, the unnecessary killing of any living entity is not permitted. Text 12. Tvatvam harer anudhyatas tatvam samapi sammatah katham tva avadyam kritavan anushikshan satam vratam. Synonyms. Sir, that person, tvam, you, hare, by the Supreme Lord, anudhyata, being always remembered, tat, his, pumsam, by the devotees, api, also, sammatah, esteemed, katham, why, tu, then, avadyam, abominable, act, kritavan, you have undertaken, anushikshan, setting the example, satam, of saintly persons, pratam, a vow. Translation. Because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you, and you are also recognized by all His confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised why have you undertaken such an abominable task? Purport. Dhruva Maharaj was a pure devotee and was accustomed to always thinking of the Lord. Reciprocally, the Lord always thinks of those pure devotees who think of Him only 24 hours a day. As a pure devotee does not know anything beyond the Lord, so the Lord does not know anything beyond his pure devotee. Swayambhuva Manu pointed out this fact to Dhruva Maharaj. Not only are you a pure devotee, but you are recognized by all pure devotees of the Lord. You should always act in such an exemplary way that others may learn from you. Under these circumstances, it is surprising that you have killed so many faultless yakshas. Text 13. Titikshaya karunaya maitreya chakhila jantushu samatvena cha sarvatma bhagavan samprasidati. Synonyms. Titikshaya, by tolerance; karunaya, by mercy; maitreya, by friendship; cha, also; akhila, universal; jantushu, unto the living entities; samatvena, by equilibrium; cha, also; sarvatma, the super soul; bhagavan, the personality of Godhead; samprasidati, becomes very satisfied. Translation. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Purport. It is the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse. There are 3 stages of devotional life. In the lowest stage, a devotee is simply concerned with the deity in the temple, and he worships the Lord with great devotion, according to rules and regulations. In the second stage, the devotee is cognizant of his relationship with the Lord, his relationship with fellow devotees, his relationship with persons who are innocent, and his relationship with persons who are envious. Sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious persons. It is advised that an advanced devotee should be tolerant. He should show complete mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent. A preacher devotee is meant to show mercy to innocent persons, whom he can elevate to devotional service. Everyone, by constitutional position, is an eternal servant of God. Therefore, a devotee's business is to awaken everyone's Krishna consciousness. That is his mercy. As for a devotee's treatment of other devotees who are his equals, he should maintain friendship with them. His general view should be to see every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord. Different living entities appear in different forms of dress, but according to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, a learned person sees all living entities equally. Such treatment by the devotee is very much appreciated by the Supreme Lord. It is therefore said that a saintly person is always tolerant and merciful. He is a friend to everyone, never an enemy to anyone, and he is peaceful. These are some of the good qualities of a devotee. End of purpose. Om Agyanatmirindasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurun Bilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So we are in this chapter where Swayambhuva Manu is advising Dhruva Maharaj to bring an end to this war that he has brought about on the Yakshas. So do we see that contrast? This is also being advised here by Swayambhuva Manu in a battlefield to stop the war, because enough revenge has been extracted out, and now a lot of innocent people are being killed. And there was the other battlefield, that was in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna was not ready to fight because of his getting confused and his getting despondent about killing his relatives, friends, and so many people, including his guru and Bhishma, who is his very dear great-grandfather. So that was a scenario where Krishna urged Arjuna and gave him the whole Bhagavad Gita, knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, urging him to fight for religious principles. Here, also in the battlefield, Swayambhuva Manu is urging Dhruva Maharaj, who has undertaken this battle because his cousin brother, his half brother Uttama, and his thereafter his stepmother died. Stepmother died because of no fault, because of lamentation, separation from his son. But Uttama was unjustly killed by a yaksha because he was on a hunting expedition. So here Dhruva Maharaj is exacting revenge. And he has killed many, many yakshas. And sometimes when the ruler of the world, Dhruva Maharaj was the ruler of the world at that time, and sometimes some elements do spring about, like enemy elements do spring about, who like to exercise and think or consider that they are bigger than the ruler, that they do not care for the king. And as a result, sometimes they end up committing this kind of crimes, which is against the royal family, also without giving any consideration about the consequences for such actions. So in order to curb these kind of tendencies and in order to teach them a lesson, then a war is necessary so that they don't do the same mistake again. Here in this case, yakshas were responsible for bringing about the wrath of Dhruva Maharaj on them because of having killed his brother, Uttama. So we see that a personality of Dhruva Maharaj, who is by nature a devotee of the Lord, but he is also a Kshatriya. We have also noticed in the prior chapters about the characteristics of Dhruva Maharaj. When he was denied the lap of his father by his stepmother, Suruchi, he was just barely a 5-year-old child. But he was born a Kshatriya. So we notice that he was hissing like a snake who has been trampled. And he goes to his mother to seek how he can, get a kingdom which is better than his father's kingdom, which is bigger and better than his father's kingdom, or better than his great great grandfather Brahma's kingdom. So that's the Kshatriya spirit. So how could he tolerate, after having made peace with his family, like with Uttam and his father Tanapad, his stepmother Suruchi, how could he tolerate that anybody within the kingdom that he is ruling will be able to kill his brother Uttama? So he is displaying his Kshatriya spirit by waging a war and killing indiscriminately the Yakshas. Of course, the Yakshas were challenged by Dhruva Maharaj because he blew the conch, challenged them, and then started killing them. And of course, you get reactions from both sides, but he was just too powerful a thing, and he killed so many Yakshas for the fault of just one Yaksha who tried to, who basically did the wrong action, and other Yakshas who came in support of him were all annihilated. But here now, Swayambhuva Manu, his grandfather, is telling him that enough is enough. You have killed so many innocent people now. You cannot eliminate the whole race of Yakshas. After all, there are so many innocent people who are duty bound to fight, but they are getting killed. A lot of at this times in today's world also we see when a war breaks out, what happens? And we are seeing the example right in front of us. A war between Israel and Hamas and Iran and Hezbollah was going on. What did forget about what is the background of this whole thing, but what did Israel do when suddenly one fine night or day, is bombarded with like 5,000 rockets? So of course they have to exact revenge, and that's what they are doing, and this has been going on, even though so many innocent people, civilians, are dying, but the war is still raging on, because all those people who are supporting this kind of an action on part of the perpetrators of this kind of an action are getting killed, and more such actions are happening, but innocent people are dying on both sides. It's not that just one side, but both sides. Innocent people die. So war, it does not, but when it is a religious war, that's a different thing. But when it is a war for something which is easily avoidable due to common sense, then such war should not take place. So that's where these things are very important. The value system, the qualities of tolerance, mercy, friendship, equality, as Prabhupada mentioned. These are also the qualities that one should display and bring about the change. But change does not always happen, because when there is so much hatred and so much enmity is there prevailing in the heart, then change is difficult to bring about. So unless you fill that with Krishna consciousness, with Krishna in your heart, and dedicate your actions and be guided by the super soul properly, one will not be able to conduct oneself properly in the right spirit, in the righteousness. So that is those are the perils, and we should always think that when such a thing happens, should draw parallels. Here, Krishna is urging Arjuna to fight, and there, Swayambhuva Manu is telling Dhruva Maharaj, stop it now. Enough is enough. So we have to take the lesson and understand why certain things happen, and take that viewpoint and what kind of an action one should take, whether one should be an aggressor or whether one should be a peacemaker. Of course, there is no alternative to peace. Peace is a requirement everywhere, in every single living entity is this thing. However, when it becomes very, very difficult, despite so many attempts by Krishna and by others for common sense to prevail, then war becomes inevitable. So in our daily life also, we face such situations, and we should deliberate on each situation and conduct ourselves according to the situation, and being guided by the super soul within, and thereby make our own life perfect, so that when the time of test comes, we are able to position ourselves towards the right side of the spectrum, towards Krishna, towards the righteousness. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to purify myself. Have a wonderful day, wonderful Kartik. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice summary.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Very nice. Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice summary.
Hare Krishna. Very nice summary, Prabhu. Thank you so much.